2 weeks into season 4 and all the new items have been weird to get used to. I mean, between the scoped ARs, the shockwave soaring, and rocket ram flying, there's just so many things that have changed the way you play. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact settings that you should be using to get wins like this. This is a settings guide, so we'll run through everything with explanations to make sure you understand it and can make your own adjustments. Starting with page 1, I actually play on a PC. I just plug in my controller. So like I play performance mode. This is all my settings on here. But this page is the same for absolutely everybody. First up are these 3 movement settings, and I recommend everyone to use these exact settings: on, and hold jump. Hold the swap pickup, you definitely want to. In preferred item slots, it's super important to actually have something similar to what I have here. And this is actually a very strategic loadout. So obviously the shotgun's the easiest to get to. Then utility is directly to the right of that, so you can throw like a shockwave down and only take 1 bumper tap to get back to your shotgun and hit a shot on the way down. Then you have your 2 heals in the slots that take the longest to get to, which makes sense. And then with your AR in the last slot, it's so you can shoot your shotgun and then just with 1 bumper click, you can switch over to your AR and follow up your shot. So I highly recommend preferred item slots that look like this. Then because we have that set up, we don't need the auto soar option on. And then these next 4 building settings are so important. So reset building choice, I think you need on, because the first build you're always gonna want is pretty much wall. And then disable pre-edits. Honestly, I feel like the really good mouse and keyboard pros are the only players that can even really use pre-edits. So for like 99% of controller players, I think it's just way better to completely disable pre-edits. Turbo building you need on. With turbo building off, it makes it so much harder to build. And then auto confirm edits, I actually use both. If you don't know what auto confirm editing means, it's basically you click your edit button, you click your select button, and as soon as you let go of your select button, you don't have to click anything else, and it just automatically confirms. This makes it so when you're editing, you're only clicking your edit button and your select button, and you don't have to click a 3rd button to confirm every single edit. I personally think it just makes it so much easier to edit, and there's actually a lot of really good pro players that use this setting, but that's just for editing. If you set it to both, that means it's doing it for resets too, which means when you click edit, you only have to click 1 button to reset instead of clicking a confirm button. So that means you can do stuff like this so easily, whereas before it was actually really hard to do stuff like that. Then moving on, if you're not a new player, you should turn these off. Basically, all these are personal preference except for this one, which is tap to search and interact, and I highly recommend turning this on. It basically just means you don't have to hold down square. You can just click it once and it'll search the chat. Over here in game UI, I definitely recommend having cumulative turned on. This I just recently actually turned all the way up, and it's definitely helped because sometimes you can't actually see how much you hit someone for. So having the numbers as big as possible really helps with that. And then for the rest of this is what I have on. If you want us to be able to see your ping, you want to turn on net debug stat. And the rest of these, I just recommend copying what I have here. Now over here, we have the gyro options, and I just recommend turning these completely off. It can be kind of fun to be able to like aim with your controller like this, but I honestly think this is only good for Switch players. For any other type of player, I highly recommend turning this off. If you want to be good, it's not a good setting to have on. Mouse and keyboard settings don't matter unless you're playing mouse and keyboard a little bit. And now this is the most important tab of controller settings by far. This is where all the sensitivities are going to be. And real quick, I want to mention, after I finish walking you guys through these settings, I'm actually going to hop into some solos and play some of the sweatiest solo lobbies I've ever seen. And I'm doing it on these exact settings so you can see kind of what it looks like. And if you want some extra content, I've been streaming almost every single day over on my Twitch. So if you want to drop in, ask me some questions, or just talk to me in chat, definitely make sure to head over there and drop a follow. So first up, controller auto run. I've never used this because you can actually just pull out your map while you're running and it starts the auto run. So you don't even really need this on. And honestly, it messes me up more than it helps me, so I just keep it off. Build immediately, you definitely want on. With build immediately off, it basically means you have to click your trigger twice to place any build, which is just dumb. I don't even know why that's an option. And at whole time, it doesn't matter what you have this on, as long as over in your buttons, whatever button you use to edit, you need to make sure it's set to only be edit and not set to look like this. If you set it to look like this, your edits are gonna be so slow. I think most people know that, but just in case you don't, you want to make sure it's just set to edit. And if you have that, then this doesn't matter what value it's at. Slide hold time, you used to want to make sure this was all the way down for the mud glitch. This is whenever you had mud applied, you could just spam your slide button, you'd go sliding so fast. But I guess it was a bug because they actually patched it this season and you can no longer do it. So I guess this doesn't really matter what you have it at either. I'd recommend somewhere between all the way down and maybe like a 0.12, something like that. Any higher, it's gonna cause delays when you want to slide and it might mess you up. And any lower, some people can deal with it being all the way down, but some people find themselves accidentally sliding when they mean to crouch, and that gets them killed a lot. So basically, just find your sweet spot. If you don't really know, maybe just set it like somewhere in the middle. Reset camera axis, I honestly just figured out what this actually means, because I've tried pitch, I've tried WAY, I've tried both, but I've never noticed a difference because over in your bind, there's actually a bind called reset camera that no one uses. But if you do set this up and set this up to reset camera, that's the only time this setting even matters. So because I obviously don't have that binded and like no one does, this honestly doesn't matter. You can put it on whatever you want. And then this reset camera time is going to be the exact same thing. It literally doesn't matter because we don't even have a bind set for it. And with vibrations, you actually want them to be off. Obviously in Fortnite, there's a lot of like really precise aiming going on. So if you think about it and you're trying to aim super precisely, but while your controller is buzzing, that's obviously not ideal. That's just adding an extra problem. And the whole point of these settings are to help you get better at the game. So whatever advantage we can get, we want. Then that actually leads us to our first sensitivity tab. And a lot of people just skip past these first two grayed out settings. But it's funny because there's actually a debate about these settings. So to actually even access these settings, you have to turn advanced options off and then you can change these. But some people think that once you turn advanced options back on, people think that even though these get grayed out, they actually still affect your sense. But I've actually tested this multiple times and I've never found a difference. I've timed it, like I'm talking down to milliseconds, and there's never been a difference. So I fully believe that these do not have any sort of effect on your advanced options, which you should have turned on right here. And only settings that you can adjust here are the ones that actually matter. So both my build and edit multipliers are 2.0, which doesn't actually mean that much by itself because all this is doing is basically multiplying the look sense. So my current season 4 look sense is just 43% horizontal vertical with no boost. The more that I've tested, the more I like having just no boost on the look sense specifically. Let me tell you that these two values under the look sense are the two most important sensitivities in all of Fortnite. The reason is that they actually control your build and edit sense. All this means is that 43%, this is the speed of my look sense, right? So because build and edit are 2.0, as soon as I go from my 43 look sense, my build and edit will be exactly double my look sense. So many people don't realize this. So double 43 is 86, right? So if I go over here and set my look sense to 86%, but set my build and edit sense to only 1, my build and edit sense are going to be the exact same. There's literally no difference here. This is the exact sensitivity that I've been using forever on my build and edit sense. The only difference is now my look sense is super fast. So hopefully that helps you understand that aspect a little bit more. I feel like so many people don't actually realize that these are just multiplying this sense. And not only is this important for building, but the majority of the aiming you do is with your shotgun. Almost all your fights are going to end up being close range fights. And in close range fights, I don't know who's doing this and then ADSing. No one does that. Everyone builds, they take shots from the hip. And what do you know? When you take shots like this, what are you using? You're using your look sense. So despite the name look sense, it's not only used for just looking around. It's actually mainly used for taking shotgun shots. You piece control someone up, you get there, you take your shot, you're taking it with your look sense. So you want to make sure that value's not too high, but it also can't be too slow. And what I and so many other pro players have found is that 43% works so well for that. Now we get down to the ADS sense, and I've even made adjustments in this since the season's been out. What we have here is 7% of horizontal, 9% of vertical, and 2% boost. At the start of the season, I had both of these boosts on 0, but this season, I actually think a little bit of ADS boost is needed. The thing about the boost is when you're making these slight adjustments, it doesn't affect your aim at all. Where it starts to come into play is when your stick is pressed all the way max speed, it speeds it up 2%. So this means you can still make these super tight, long range adjustments, but especially when people are rocket rams this season, I've noticed that a lot of times when I'm trying to track them, my crosshair, even if I'm pushing it all the way down, just can't follow them fast enough if they're close to me. So for that reason, I think you need just a little bit of boost to be able to actually catch up to them in the air. Last season, we didn't have anything like that, and this season, they just went nuts with the mobility. With the shockwaves and the rocket rams, you have to be able to shoot people out of the air, and the 7% horizontal actually works perfect like that when paired with the boost. Then the reason vertical is a little higher is because people move up and down faster than they move left to right. So say someone's taking the rocket ram or shockwave, you usually need to be able to move your crosshair up to them faster than you need to move it like left or right. Like this ADS sense is so good that actually if someone rocket rams in front of me, it's almost a free kill every single time. Like it is so easy to hit shots on them out of the sky, it's actually kind of crazy. Then look damage time, I honestly only know one pro player that's ever used this, and that's Scope. But out of like hundreds of other players, I've literally never seen someone else use this, and I think that's for a good reason because I just don't really see the point in using look damage time at all. And the look input curve is on linear. I personally have basically always been a linear player. I think for like 97% of players, linear is definitely by far the better input. I think it makes the game more fun to play. You can like build easier, you can flick easier. It's a lot more smooth and satisfying versus exponential is a lot more like choppy, and it can be good. There's definitely some good exponential players, but if you're trying to figure out what settings to use, I definitely recommend linear settings. Controller dead zones, this is honestly dependent on whatever controller you have. Like this is my favorite controller by far. It's a pro custom controller from Sens Gaming, and because this is like a pretty expensive premium controller, I can set my dead zones literally all the way down and I never have an issue with stick drift. But the good thing is there's actually a stick drift tester right here that you can kind of move your stick, and if you move your stick and you let go and the yellow is outside of that dark blue, you want to make sure to set your dead zone so it's over the yellow. If your yellow is too big, like I'd say like 30% or more, honestly even like 15% or more, you might want to look at trying to fix your stick drift, because I definitely think playing with a lower dead zone is an advantage. So if you can set these on 9, then that's perfect. Over to sound settings, the only thing that really matters over here is you want to have visualize sound effects turned on. This thing is basically a cheat code. It literally tells you which direction people are shooting from, even if your headphones can't hear it. Like if you don't have this setting on, you're really just putting yourself at a disadvantage. After that, we have controller binds, and so many people always ask me for my binds, but the issue is I have a controller that has 4 extra back buttons on. That means when I edit, when I jump, when I sprint, and when I pull out my pickaxe or shotgun, I'm not actually touching any of these face buttons to do those actions. Those are all down here, so if you don't have a 4-paddle controller, then honestly these are not good binds for you to use. I have different videos where I show you what binds are the best for each type of player, for claw, 2 paddles, no claw, no paddles. Every different type of player there's specific binds that are the best for you specifically. But maybe you have a 4-paddle controller, maybe you even have a Cinch controller, maybe you use code Carter2K at Cinch to get a little discount. If that's the case, then these are my favorite binds by far. But I'm warning you, if you don't have 4 paddles in your controller, these binds are not good for you. Don't copy it. You can copy the settings, just don't copy the bind. Now to fight these sweats. I was playing some games earlier on stream today, and I have to say that these lobbies are some of the hardest solo games I've ever played. So let's see if now, using these settings, I can beat the sweats and catch a win or two. All right, let's go. First player. This is literally the worst gun in the game, but watch this. I'm still gonna fry this guy because these settings are just so good. All right, here we go. We got an actual fight now. Bang, let's go. Oh, I was focused up that fight. There we go. 1 sweat down already. Let's grab the rocket ram. Just like that, we stole his crown, sent him back to the lobby. This guy doesn't seem like the best player, so we'll come over here. And bang, that was weird. My shotgun didn't shoot. This guy was just over here trying to kill the dinosaurs. Let's go. That was a bit scary. I did not expect him to hit me that hard. All right, this King Antoine guy is killing everybody. Let's see if I can get in here and stop him. Wow. And absolutely fried. Oh, we got a guy down here. Oh, wait. I don't know how he broke me out. Another guy's coming up. We'll heal real quick. We got 4 slurps, so why not? Oh, he has sticky grenades. I almost forgot about sticky grenades, honestly. Wow, let's go. What a weirdo. That guy's so bad. Ooh, he even had the mythic MK for me. Thank you very much. And there that guy is. He's gonna take the rocket. Crack. Let's just push him. Why not? He's right there. Let's go. What a win, dude. Killed like 3 sweats in there, maybe even 4. I don't even remember. That's the type of stuff you can do with these settings. I highly recommend giving them a shot. Make sure to subscribe. I might be streaming right now, so head over to my Twitch if you want to keep watching. And thank you so much for watching.